In this episode, we see if I can take this Junkyard C10 with the blown engine and make her run and drive again. Welcome back to OK Speed Shop. Roll the highlight reel. Okay, so if you haven't been following along, this is my 1986 C10 Custom Deluxe. I found this old girl in a junkyard a few months ago, and let me just say it was a pretty epic adventure getting her out of the junkyard, but then the fun died down pretty quick when I realized that the old 305 was totally toast. So I started to pull the engine, and then disaster happened. I actually dropped my gantry crane on top of the cab. Fortunately, I found a good 350 engine and tranny from a buddy of mine that came out of a Camaro, painted her up, got her cleaned up, and we're about to drop her in. Let's go. Don't scratch the wife's car. Bump, 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 bump. All right, got the wife's car moved out of the way so I don't scratch it. I don't know what I'm doing. I guess let me get this thing centered up and see if we can get her connected. I'm about to have to run and get Olivia from dance class, so I may have to outfit change before we actually drop this in. We'll see what I get done. We're about to have liftoff, boys. You guys ready for this? I feel like this is a significant moment in OK Speed Shop history. Well, I got it to come up a little bit. I wasn't thinking about all the tranny fluid still being in the tranny. Looks like I've been slaughtering pigs in here in the shop. I want to see if I can get this fuel pump back on. I don't know, this may be a mistake trying to do this right now, but seems like an easy time to do it. How do I do it? All right, so after spending a little bit of time studying how to install this fuel pump, I learned there is a rod that comes through the block right here that pushes on this little trigger right here, which pumps the fuel. I've got to get that rod to push up into the block so that I can push this little trigger down inside of it so that it'll push on this button right here.
Man, it dang old complicated, you know, man. It's like a dang old Rubik's Cube.
I'm gonna put a new gasket kit on, and then this thing should be operating as it should. Just got another 3/8 by 16 bolt. So I'm just gonna throw this in and then just let that kind of hold that pin up or that rod up for me. To where once I get my gasket in now, I can install this. The bolt holes line up now. The little pivot is in the right spot and everything. So now that that's held up, let me go ahead and get this gasket cleaned up and replaced and go ahead and put the fuel pump on. First thing I'm gonna do is I just got a good new razor blade, and I'm just gonna clean up any residue from that gasket. I'm gonna just hit it with some little B12 chem tool, and I'm gonna wipe it down really good with the rag and then apply a little bit of silicone. As you can see, just a couple little dabs here and there, and then I'm just gonna spread it around with my finger just for an even coating. And then now our gasket is gonna kind of self-adhere to that. So now we're gonna apply our new fuel pump gasket, and it's nice and easy. It just kind of sticks right in place. Now I think I'm gonna put a little bit more silicone on the gasket bracket here on the block so that it'll also stick to that side, and then we'll put our bolts in and the fuel pump will be mounted. Just gonna go ahead and slide this little rod in underneath the rod in the engine. And we're gonna be sure we torque these to spec, of course. The spec being what feels right to me in the moment. All right guys, so now it's time for the moment of truth. We're gonna hoist this baby up in the air, see about dropping this thing down into the engine bay. I'm not sure if the headers are gonna have to be removed or not, but we're about to find out. I feel like kind of stepping away from this just to be safe. Okay guys, she's up in the air. Hope this thing holds. All right, now I'm gonna see if I can just use this leveler and see if I can point this transmission down a little bit. Hey, really quick, I want to say a huge shout out and thank you to our sponsors of this video, AUXITO. AUXITO was nice enough to send us this battery jump pack, and this thing is pretty sweet because it's super compact and you never have to worry about lugging around clunky jumper cables anymore. This is their newest model, the J102. I was able to use it the other day to jump off a 1955 Chevy Bel Air, and the thing cranked up first time, no problem at all. Another cool feature of the J102 is it also doubles as a super handy work light. So whether you're stranded on the side of the road or you're just stuck working under the truck trying to bolt in a drive shaft, Foreshadowing. The J102 has you covered. So if you guys are looking for one of these, or you just want to support my channel, you can pick one of these up by clicking the link in the description below. If you use promo code OKSpeedShop, you'll get a 15% discount on this item, and I'll get a small commission as well. So you guys will be helping me do my thing. So thank you guys for being a part of this channel. Now let's get back to work. All right, let me see if I can drop her down a little bit more now. Try to clear this firewall. Oh man, we're almost home free. We are almost home free. I think we're gonna be okay. We're close. Just trying to do this without messing up this valance here on the front.
It's called a lance. Hello.
It is a tight fit. Hope this fuel pump's gonna fit in here. So I'm just having to push this engine back so it doesn't hang on this balancer. Okay, I think we're gonna do it, boys. So as you can see here, I mean, we just have like an inch that we have to push this thing back. I'm hoping I can do it. Oh my gosh, I think we made it. I think we're just gonna have to push way back. I don't know, boys. All right, we got one header in. I think we're gonna be able to do it. Might just have to pry it off on this side. So as you can see, it's just hitting on the frame rail right there. The other side, I've got under the frame rail there. So now I've just got to see if I can shimmy this motor around enough to get that to drop down under that frame rail, and then we're home free. Oh, we're close. I think we're in. I think we're in, boys. We just dropped through the frame rail. We just dropped through the frame rail. We just dropped through the frame rail. Oh, I'm about to mount this thing.
Wait, huh?
Next order of business is to hit the motor mounts. Come here. Which should be pretty easy now. So we're gonna ease her down a little bit more. Looks like a bloodbath underneath this motor from all that tranny fluid that came out. I thought we had it drained, but apparently not. Yeah. I think we stabbed it. Oh my gosh. So I was able to get this side motor mount in, but the only one that's giving me some trouble right now is this side. I've got a nut welded in right behind the fuel pump, so I don't have to worry about getting a wrench on that, but I just can't see to tell how the engine needs to be adjusted for the hole to line up. So I've been just like holding the bolt in and like pushing it and then wiggling the engine around, but no luck so far. So I'm just kind of fishing that around to see what until I can get it stabbed. Well, the motor is mostly in. I did finally get the motor mounts fished through there, bolted in, tightened down to spec, and as you can see, the motor's still kind of tilted back a little bit because I don't have the transmission cross member in, and then I'll be able to measure for my drive shaft and start hooking stuff up here on the engine. I'm about to have to rebuild the old Quadrajet. I got a kit that just came in for that. And I also have new valve covers and gaskets and breather and all of that. So this engine's gonna look actually pretty sweet. I've already painted all the accessories black, but man, she's starting to come together. Oh yeah. All right, let's see here. Got the new gaskets going on and the super sleek black valve cover. Oh yeah, she's gonna look good. I feel like I should probably be like taking pictures to see how all this stuff goes back together, but nah. Carburetor is actually showing signs that it's been recently rebuilt. I noticed this gasket right here looks brand new. Also, there's these couple notches right here. I don't know if you can see these, but there's two notches cut in here, and the mixture screws are exposed. And I thought that somebody just did like a hack job on this thing, and I thought it was gonna be no good. But when I got this carburetor rebuild kit, that's actually Rochester's or GM's like recommended way to access the bleeder screws. So that tells me that there's already been a kit put in this thing recently. So it's possible that it's okay. But I am going to go ahead and change a few things out. I'm going to change the fuel filter out, and I'm trying to get this thing off, but this fuel line is so seized on here. I'm going to use a little heat and see if I can bust this thing loose a little bit by heating her up and try to, oh, that was sharp. I'm going to try to do this without melting this plastic table too, so maybe I should find something to put down. There we go. Nothing yet. Oh yeah, baby. Like a charm. All right, now I'll just wait 7 hours for that to cool off, and we'll continue rebuilding this carburetor. I got it out. As you can see, I mean, pretty decent shape. This thing's not too bad. I'm gonna go ahead and put the new filter in, but I don't think I'm gonna go crazy on all this stuff because the carburetor actually looks like it's in really, really good shape. All right, I busted loose the new fuel line. Got the filter pushed in. Gonna tighten this thing down if I can keep from making this fly everywhere. The last carburetor that I had on here was actually a mechanical choke, and this carburetor is an electric choke, so I'm not gonna need this little guy. This actually slips down in the engine and reads the temperature of the engine and then throws the choke open or closed based off of the temperature of the engine. I'm gonna make a block off plate using this gasket as a template, and I'm just gonna use this old fuel pump plate here and just make it out of that. So everything's gonna be totally electric now. We're deleting the EGR valve and we're deleting the mechanical choke thingy. So let me get this cut out. All right, there we have it, folks. There was a little bit of a hole that it got cut into there, but I don't think it's gonna be too big of a problem. I am gonna go ahead and throw a little red paint on this just so it disappears into the abyss. Now I'm about to put our gaskets on for the water pump. So I've been cleaning up the water pump right here. When I pulled this off the engine, I just left the alternator connected to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this gasketed up and bolted on. So what's going on with the truck?
We have to fix it because it is kind of, the image is kind of not well, so we have to fix it kind of.
What's wrong?
The image.
The image?
It's not well.
The image is not well.
No.
Yeah, you're
We
right.
have to kind of fix it.
Gotta fix the image.
Yeah.
You ready to see this old truck running?
Oh yeah, baby.
Won't be long.
Nope.
You think Daddy knows what he's doing? Think so?
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Got a slap bracelet?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I got the fox. What does the fox say? Ding a ling a ling a ling ling. Daddy.
I love you.
Daddy. Let's go inside.
All right, so what would this channel really be if there wasn't a little bit of redneckery involved? So as you can see here, I'm bolting on the AC compressor, and I've got all the bolts in except for the bolt that goes through the header. I had to take the front bolt out of the header, and now I'm bolting in that bottom bracket, and there's about a 2-inch gap in between the bracket and the header now. So I looked around all over the shop trying to find a spacer. Couldn't find one. If I rotate and adjust the compressor down, it's gonna be at the wrong angle. So what did I do? I went down to Jimmy's shop and stole something from there. So this is the only thing I could find. It's actually like a piece of copper, and I have no idea if this will work or not, but it's all that I have. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna shoot this in some black so that it disappears, and I'm gonna run a bolt through this, and this is just gonna act as a spacer similar to what you'd see like on an alternator bracket or something like that, and hopefully that's gonna hold my compressor in place good enough, and maybe we won't have an exhaust leak. So as you can see, finally getting all of my serpentine, or actually some V-belts, installed. Not gonna say it was pretty by any means. I did kind of mar things up a little bit, just trying to pry everything on. But I can always re-hit it with a little bit of black spray paint. It'll be golden. Well, it'll be black, but it'll be good. Got all the accessories hooked up, belts on, master cylinder hooked up. I got the vacuum hose hooked up here to the back of the carb. I got the kick down cable connected and the throttle connected there. I've still got to do the radiator, I've got to do the starter and the gas tank and the drive shaft. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and start like seeing what wires I can figure out where they go. Also, I have to plug in the distributor, hook it up. I don't know, I'm just trying stuff. Let's just plug some stuff in and see what goes where. Okay, that's distributor stuff. This is probably gonna be starter stuff. Might be alternator, hang on. Well, my camera battery died, so I had to switch to the phone. So I got the truck jacked up. I'm gonna see if I can get that starter put in. I don't have any shims, so we'll see if it'll just happened to go on. I can't remember when I pulled it out if it had a shim in it or not. I don't think it did, or I would have saved it probably. So I'm gonna see if I can just get it to go on like that. Try to get it wired up. And we are getting so close to being able to spin this girl over. My starter got put in. I had to extend one wire out because this motor came out of a Camaro and this is a C10. So one of the starter wires was a little short. Got it extended out. Starter put in, seemed to go in just fine. But I'm at the end of the day and I got stuff to do. So I got to go clean up and we will get back on this project hopefully tomorrow. Got to put the radiator in and the gas tank, the distributor, and then it's fire time, baby, yeah! Also, I felt like I have the need to say, if you watch any other my other videos, by fire time, hopefully I didn't mean like actual fire, but like the fire of the engine. What's in my eye? Oh, dirt dauber. I gotta go take a shower. Woo! So today's gonna be a good day, guys. Today may be the day that the old Junkyard Dog runs again. I'm about to hook a battery up and then spin it over and drop the distributor in and then start trying to see what we can do to make her run. Let's do it. So we got the old side post battery hooked up now, and I crawled inside and hooked my little push button starter up to the post of the starter. And I know we don't have a distributor in yet, but I just want to see if our starter is functioning and if we have engine crankage. So I'm going to press this button, and this is going to be, if this works, the first sign of life in the Junkyard Dog truck. Moment of truth. Ready? Here we go. Oh yeah, she's alive, boys and girls. All right, she seems to be starting strong. So I think all that's left to do now, well, not all that's left to do, but the next thing I need to do is to get this thing on top dead center and drop the distributor in and be sure everything's in time, and we'll start working on getting fuel and fire. So if you don't know, to get top dead center, the easy way to do it is to pull #1 spark plug, and then I'm just going to stick my finger over the #1 spark plug hole, and I'm going to spin the engine over until a big breath of compression pushes my finger out of that hole. That'll let me know that the #1 piston is up. I just realized I just took out the #2 side, so I got to go to the other side. I've been working on a Ford. My last vehicle was a Ford. So on the #1 spark plug hole, remove #1 spark plug, hold your finger in the hole, spin the engine till it blows your finger out, then you're in top dead center. Now then I'll be able to drop my distributor down in place, be sure the rotor is pointing towards the #1 plug, and we should be pretty much in time. So let me put this back, go to the other side. Okay, so the #1 plug is out now. Now I just gotta find this spark plug hole here. Headers are so cool, but they make things so much harder. All right, I just got my finger over the hole, and I'm just gonna bump this over until a gush of wind comes out. Right there. Okay, so that should be about where we need to be. We're gonna drop the distributor in now, and I may have to bump the engine just a little bit for the distributor to seat down in the gears. Getting too old for this. Okay. So I need to pull the distributor off and see which way the rotor's facing now. There we go. So I want this thing, I want the point of this rotor to be facing the #1 plug wire while it's at top dead center, which it is. Sometimes you can hit it just right and you don't have to bump it to get it to drop in, but very rarely. So as suspected, the distributor's not dropping in all the way. It's got about a half inch or so to drop on down. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to get out of the way of this fan, put a little downward pressure on this distributor, bump it one time until it seats down inside those gears. Oh, there it went. All right, we made it. Distributor's in. Now just to put it together, wire it up, put some gas in it, start it. You know, I guess one thing that we'll probably also have to do before we start is put plug wires on. So I'm gonna do that really quick, hook up plug wires and also plug all these vacuum leaks, try to get vacuum lines where they go and see what happens from there. Okay, so I went ahead and got all the plugs wired up, 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2 in a clockwise pattern, starting with number 1 right there, pointing towards the 1 plug since we're at top dead center. I think everything's in there right. It's kind of all a mess right now. Got a lot of work ahead of me just straightening all this stuff out, but that's for another day. Only thing I got to do now is got to just plug and route some of these vacuum ports and then shoot a little fuel down the throat and see if we got any fire. Let's go. Well guys, you know what time it is. We're kind of running out of stuff to do here. So I mixed up a little Kool-Aid cocktail with some gasoline, some 2-cycle engine oil. I think it's time to see if this old girl wants to live again. I'm gonna see if I can just fill this bowl up with some gasoline. All right, she's full. Now, I'm gonna prepare to hear the thunder. One last look all over everything. We're gonna see if this engine wants to run. Actually, I'm gonna sop up the gas that I just poured everywhere, just in case we have some sort of fire. No sense waiting any longer. Let's see what happens.
That was so easy.
Did that sucker just start right up? First try? Oh my gosh. Woo! What's on fire? Woo! First press of the button, she started right up. I don't know what this is smoking, probably just a little bit of dust and stuff like that, but that was amazing. She's gonna be a runner. I think the idle was maybe a little bit high. I might have to dial that back. Otherwise, no complaints. That was freaking awesome. Did you hear that?
Heard it.
Come here, babe. You gotta be in this.
I'll stay off.
It's like, I pressed the button one time and it started.
Is that a woohoo?
Yeah.
I told you I knew.
That was awesome. I seriously just boom, one and done. Started right up. Didn't even like spin or anything.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Good job.
Thanks. You heard it, didn't you? You heard it down the road. That was so fun, I want to do it again. Throttle's a little high, but I think she's going to be all right. But I tightened down a couple possible vacuum leaks. I'm sure there's more that I'm not finding right now, but I'm going to try it one more time and just see if that happens to help the high idle that we're experiencing. I hate a dang side post. Holy crap, why was it doing that? There is no telling if we even have a starter or a flywheel left. Oh my gosh, did you hear that? It's like the starter got stuck. And I've got these stupid side post batteries that are bolted in. I went and turned the key off. It still got power. So I don't know if I messed up my flywheel or I could not find a 9/16 anywhere. Finally, we had to find one while it was doing all that. Woo! Okay, so I figured out what that problem was. A little push button starter. I guess I had pulled on it a little bit and it was crossing the starter terminals. Hopefully I didn't burn anything up. I'm gonna try to put it back together. Actually, I may just try to start it with the key and quit worrying about this thing. I did learn a lesson that I will pass along to you guys. If you have one of these stupid, idiotic side terminal batteries, have a battery cutoff switch, or at least take your bolt most of the way out and have a 9/16 wrench or whatever size bolt you have handy. I did not have one. I had to dig around for one in the middle of all that, and this socket broke. Somehow it broke and it will not loosen no matter what. It only tightens now. So that was good to learn and find out in the middle of an emergency. Wow, piece of junk. I just realized one more thing too, guys. Our choke was stuck closed. So that might be part of the reason for the high idle. I really, really hope that I didn't tear anything up, but I'm just gonna run into the cab now and bump it over from inside and see if that affects our high idle at all. Oh no, that's not good. Crap, starter didn't engage. Maybe I just have to reach down there and poke around at it or something.
Did you just poke me with that stick?
Well guys, that's not what we want to see right there. When that starter stuck, it just totally toasted 2 of my flywheel teeth. So that's why it's not starting and engaging now, because those teeth are just totally gone. So I think what I'm going to try to do for now is just rotate the flywheel and see if I can get the truck to start in another position. And then just going to have to figure out how to fix that later. All right, I got the flywheel rotated a little bit. I want to see how bad it messes it up, if it slips while it's rotating or what. Let me hook the battery back up and see how bad I messed up. Well, that makes me feel better, at least knowing that 88 times out of 90, she'll start. All right, on the agenda today, we got to get the radiator and the AC condenser put in, drive shaft, and the new gas tank, and we should be able to go for a drive. So let me go get the radiator and see if I can remember how all of that went together. Maybe I should blow this thing out. Nah, it's fine. Hopefully that's not a leak. Maybe I'm supposed to put the AC condenser in first. Yeah, I think so. At least I did one smart thing in my life, and I saved the little bolts. I put them back in where they're supposed to go, so now I can bolt this thing in. That's nice. How does this thing bolt in? There's got to be a bracket here. Yes. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. I bet this is supposed to scoot over. Perfect. Now if I can find those bolts, I wish I would have saved those. This is blowing me away. I'm actually finding all of the bolts that I took out back in June. You're watching this, I'm filming this in late September. So if your guys' shop looks like mine, you know how big of a miracle this is that I found this stuff. Now I gotta see if I can fit this fan shroud in without hopefully having to take the fan back off. Oh, come on. You just gotta finesse it. Whoop, that didn't sound like finesse. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and throw a little coolant in this radiator. Make sure she's holding water. All right, I guess I'm a little bit overly anxious, but I got the radiator hooked up now, and I plugged the PCV valve, which I had in the wrong spot. So I'm gonna fire it up one more time, see if it runs any different before I put in the gas tank and the drive shaft. And I don't know why I'm doing my hands like this. It's running a lot healthier now. That was 1,000 times better now that I got that PCV valve in the right spot. Yes. Okay, now I know we're in good shape to go ahead, put it in the gas tank, drive shaft, maybe go for a drive. Come on, boys. All right, dudes, so we're about to install the gas tank and the drive shaft, and those are the last two steps before we can drive this truck. But I've run into some issues. But I've went and tried to have 2 drive shafts modified, both of which failed because they were imperfect and they were used. So I'm kind of at a standstill until I can get the drive shaft thing figured out. My question to you guys is, what would you do? Because this engine and tranny that I just installed actually has a short tail shaft because it came out of a Camaro. But this is a long wheelbase truck, so there is no drive shaft that exists. I either have to find one that's straight and long enough to be cut down to the right size, or I have to have one built and spend a butt ton of money. So, need your advice. Let me know what would be the best option to do. And in the meantime, got a lot more content almost ready to be produced and sent out. So in the next video, we're gonna take this thing for a drive. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're not a shop dog yet, $2.99 a month, you can be a member to this channel, get all kinds of cool membership perks. Love you guys, have a good day.